Ladies and gentlemen, one of the questions that I'm constantly asked is, Keith, when in the world are you going to bring Sarah back? You see, Keith, we love your movie blogs. We love that you talk about football. We love that you talk about technology. But for the love of God, when is Sarah coming back? Well, wait no further, because Sarah is here. And not only is Sarah here, she's brought company. Nathan, how are you today?
Great, and yourself?
Not too bad. So good to see you. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be talking about all things UFC. And there's a lot to talk about, so we're going to be breaking this into different segments. Sarah and I were just talking, and to think, the very first time you and I sat down to have a conversation, just to show you how far the UFC has gone, is we were talking about, I was debating the fact that Chael Sonnen, good old Chael Sonnen, was the most important person in the UFC. Now we look a couple years later, or several years later, Chael Sonnen is gone from the UFC, completely irrelevant really in the UFC, in the MMA world, and now there's a new guy on the block by the name of Conor McGregor. And Conor McGregor is an interesting person because he's like Chael Sonnen in the sense that he's gotten over with all of his trash talking, except he wins.
That's the thing. I think the thing that makes it more legitimate is the fact that he can back up his mouth. And I think that makes him even more powerful because you can't knock the guy, oh, he's just mouthing off. No, the guy is going to murder you. So yeah, respect.
So let's jump right into UFC 205, which is the event that, of course, the UFC is calling the biggest of all time, until the next big event comes up. And there's 3 belts on the line. We're a week away. Hopefully nobody pulls out, you know. Hopefully everyone's gonna make it to the card. So let's break this card down. So first of all, let's talk about the main event. Of course, it's the lightweight title. Conor McGregor is trying to be, I think he's going to be trying to be the first person to hold 2 belts. Didn't BJ Penn hold 2 belts at one time?
Not at the same time. Not at the same time. Thing with Couture.
Okay.
Just at the same time.
Okay, so he's trying to be the first person to hold 2 belts at the same time. Eddie Alvarez makes a point in the sense that he doesn't understand why Conor's getting the shot, because it's basically, you know, bypassing all the people in the lightweight division. I know you're a big Conor McGregor fan.
Yes, I
am.
And
I'm torn on Conor McGregor. Now let me give you my 2 cents, and I want to hear what you guys have to say.
Please.
I think Conor McGregor is great for selling tickets. So I've been a WWE fan for years, so I'm all about the hype train of selling tickets, and I think he does a great job of that. I will also commend him, win, lose, or well, not draw, but win or lose, he goes over, he's going to shake the person's hand, and I think from that aspect, really great. But if we are talking the top fighters in the UFC right now, for myself, he's not in the conversation. He's not a Dominic Cruz. He's not a Demetrius Johnson. He builds the hype, absolutely. So the hype on this fight isn't that we have 2 great fighters, because let's be honest, before this fight, we weren't talking about Eddie Alvarez. All Eddie Alvarez is a title. He has a title, and we'll talk about our predictions. But give me your thoughts on it.
So I think the difference with Conor McGregor is you got to respect the cojones the guy has. I think sometimes with fighters, right, like you see people that just lean against the fence, or I'm just going to pin you down like, you know, big country, I'm just going to lie on you and just kind of punch you in the face. And I think it's been a while when we've gotten to too technical, like George St. Pierre, a lot of people said, oh, he's too technical, so it's always decisions. Even Eddie Alvarez is known for more decisions, right? So I think the thing that is exciting about Conor McGregor is he's balls to the walls. He's not afraid. And I think you got to respect somebody that's willing to go for it. And I think I totally agree. He's kind of got that WWE-esque kind of approach to it. But I mean, like, they kind of did that in Pride, too. It was more of a spectacle, you know?
But that sells, too.
And that's it, right? So I think that for me, the reason why I love him so much is, of course he's easy to hate, but the man is talented, and he's brave, he's strong, he's not afraid of anything. And I think that kind of tenacity, I mean, you've got to respect it. You don't have to like him, but you got to respect the fact that if you're going to see him fight, the man's going to give you 110%. It's not going to be oh, here we go up against the fence, or, you know, the guy's jumping up to two weight classes to fight, and now he's going to another weight class that he's not even a title owner in, because he's like, look what I can do, I'm going for it. And I think fans have got to love that about him. It's a performance. It's a total show. Is there anything that you think you'd want to add?
He's helping fighters get paid. Like Nate Diaz wasn't getting paid properly, and he made sure that he got paid properly. Same with Eddie Alvarez. I thought that was part of the thing, is that he was making sure Eddie was getting paid properly, because...
Didn't he say in the press conference, though, that he was surprised that Eddie signed on for the same amount that he got paid for in the Dos Anjos fight?
Yeah, well, I think that's it. He was trying to say that he should be getting paid more.
Okay.
That's Connor's fighting for everybody to be getting paid more.
Okay.
Which is the one thing I like about him. He's actually working out for all the fighters instead of just for himself.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't by any means hate Conor McGregor. I don't hate anybody in the UFC, especially now that Rampage is gone. But my thing is I kind of feel that Jose Aldo has gotten the short end of the stick. So if Conor wants to jump up to divisions and fight and go down a division, whatever, I'm totally fine with that. We've seen in the past year, or I guess it's been about a year now, since Aldo got knocked out in 13 seconds.
Yes.
I'm not going to call it a fluke because it happened. He got knocked out. But at the same token, I think he deserves the rematch. But I also think that Aldo's kind of his own worst enemy because as a fan, do you really want to buy a ticket for that fight and hope that Aldo shows up because he's got a tendency of backing out of fights.
Yeah.
That's
but the flip side of the coin is that Dana White was like, okay, you need to fight for this interim title. You get that, then you'll get the title shot. Whereas Ronda Rousey, who's been on the shelf for over a year, walks back into a title shot. So I think there's different things for different people, and I don't necessarily think that aspect is cool. If Conor was fighting Aldo, or at least defending the featherweight title, I think that would be great. But I think it's kind of silly to have a guy have a belt for over a year and never make a defense. If that's the case, if the featherweight title is that irrelevant to the UFC, then just scrap it.
You know what? That's a fair point. I think let's be real here. I mean, gone are the days where you earned that fight, right? Like, I mean, how many times have we seen fights where it was like, I'm sorry, what now? Excuse me, you know, and I think it's like when the UFC and the WWE started to become little buddy, and certainly, I don't know how I really feel about it, but I think that's when they started kind of going, okay, it's more about how we're going to make the most money, get the most attention. So I feel split on this, right? I mean, you want it to be successful. You want there to be good fights that people want, which is what they want too. But on the flip side, more diehard fans, like probably the three of us here and you guys watching at home, are like, but you didn't earn that fight, you know? Like, there are certain fights that, like, even Donald Cerrone, until he kind of goofed up at the end of his little lineage there, but there was a couple of times where I was like, how many fights does this man have to do before he gets something that he's earned? But I guess... Tony
Ferguson, actually.
You know what? Actually, yeah, and then I guess we'll get into him, too. He's at least fighting tonight against Dos Anjos, but like, gone are the days where it's earned it.
And you know what? 100%. We saw that last month with Bisping and Henderson. Like, that was,
what a fight, though.
You know, it was a spectacular fight.
I was so proud of him because he was in his hometown.
Yeah, it was a spectacular fight, and I'm on the fence on how I feel about Bisping. I don't care for Henderson. I think Henderson's a dirty fighter. I mean, I'll just put it out there.
But not bad for 46.
Yeah,
gotta give the man some props for that.
Well, I'll give the man props for being around, but I mean, at the same token, I mean, a lot of people don't like the UFC because they find it too barbaric. And when you have a guy who has a habit, and we're not just talking about the Bisping fight, even his last fight before the second Bisping fight, Lombard, where he's hitting a guy who's unconscious.
Yeah,
I think Henderson.
He's old school.
Yeah,
he's old school. Like when I think of like the Couture days and like that kind of realm, it was beat them down until they don't get up. So I think he's just in that old school where now the newer, fresher guys are all about what is the strategy behind what I'm doing, and there's a little bit more of a plan instead of which I think was kind of there before.
Fair. Okay, so we're going to do. We want to keep these segments short so people don't feel that they're looking at super long ones. We're going to end this one right here, but we're coming right back. We're going to get into UFC 205. We're going to get into the card, and we're going to get into our predictions. So stick around.